Crystal Palace 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, and the end of Wolves' unbeaten streak and a really, really disappointing performance by Wolves. I think it's our first defeat in about a month and a half now, but that game and result and whole performance by Wolves can definitely go in the category of poor. We had a few of them this season, which is really, really weird to see us so high, you could say, before this game, so high in the table with the opportunity to maybe go into the top 6 before the next international break. And maybe I jinxed it because I've mentioned that so many times. But we've come up against a Palace team who are excited, are positive. And I think it was going to be one of those games where one of these two teams, whether it be Palace or Wolves, was going to come out the other end extremely disappointed. And unfortunately for us, it's as an away team, we're going back to Wolverhampton devastated with that result. But it's our own fault, really. We weren't great. It wasn't as if, we were robbed out of the game or anything like that. We were just extremely poor. And Palace, overall, wanted it more, fought better than us, played better than us, attacked better than us, held the ball better than us. And then in the end, the result's fair. We look at Wolves, how they lined up. It was unchanged, how I predicted and would have expected, really. Unchanged from the win over Everton on Monday. Zaha in goal, back three of Cody in the middle, Sace and Kilman either side of him. Ainori on the left, Semedo on the right, Martinho, Neves in through the middle. Hwang, Jimenez and Trincao starting as the front three. To be fair, we weren't fantastic first half, but we restricted Palace fairly well, and it was just one of those games where both teams were possibly waiting for the other team to make an error or force a mistake, or just waiting to maybe catch them out slightly, and neither side did it really. Graham Scott was the referee. Very different to Martin Atkinson, I felt, from Monday, because Martin Atkinson, I felt, let the game flow. There were a lot of 50-50s which he let run, whereas Graham Scott, some of his decisions today, I think the one towards the start of the half where Martinho was booked, for me, looked a dive. So there were just little moments like that in the game where I think Graham Scott's got to be allowing the game to flow a little bit better. So I don't think that really helped us. But first half especially, we grew into it, I felt, but we didn't do enough to threaten Palace. But at the same time, we sort of defended their threat quite well. But second half was where we fell apart, really. We didn't learn from the first half. We didn't attack or push forward like you would expect, really. And Palace got the better of us. It still took them about 15 minutes or so to make the breakthrough. It was Zaha on the right-hand side. They had one of their forward players pin Max Kilman back. And Semedo's a little bit too high for me. He's got to be aware of that threat behind. Especially with Wilfried Zaha, who you could argue is one of the most, love him or hate him. He's a very, without sounding harsh, quite a dislikable player because of his character and so on, and his temper. But you can't argue that he's one of the best players outside of the top 6 or 7 teams in this league. So you can't be allowing him that much time and space. And he puts the ball in the back of the net past Jose Sarr. The linesman put his flag up, and I thought we'd got away with it. It's very rare the linesmen put their flag up unless they know for certain it's offside. So I thought we got away with that one, but it wasn't. VAR checked it, said Zaha was onside, and Palace get that goal. And we didn't learn from that. We didn't react to that at all. And we just didn't threaten Palace whatsoever. And it almost took their second goal, which came through Conor Gallagher, until Wolves thought, okay, maybe we should start creeping forward now and attack. Conor Gallagher picks up the ball, gets in behind Martinho, who doesn't really make much of an effort to trap back and stop the shot. And then Sace and Cody, both of them should be putting the pressure on, but in the end the shot comes against Cody, who once again is turning his back, comes off Cody and ends up into the back of the net. And very heavy deflection past Jose Sarr, not a lot he could do, but gives Palace that 2-goal lead. And we came into the game a little bit more, but at that point, when there's 12 minutes left plus stoppages, you're way too late. You're relying on an almost Villa away miracle to happen if you want to get anything out of the game. A couple of harsh shouts for Wolves. We had a penalty given in our favour. Again, VAR checked it and in the end said it was outside the box. I don't know. The old rule was that if the foul started outside the box, I think they'd give a free kick. But it sounded like when what I was watching there, if the foul carries on inside, the referee can give a penalty. So for me, you could argue, depending on referee and even depending on the VAR official, you could give that as a penalty. So I think Wolves are a little bit unlucky there. And the second in a week, we had one against Everton given in our favour. In the end, the referee gave it as a free kick. But you just have to look at the stats. 13 shots for Palace to our 4, 6 on target for them to our 2, 60% possession for Palace to our 40. Just not good enough today overall. And it's a team in Palace who, although they were slightly lower than us in the table and still are lower than us in the table, they've picked up a win against City. They've drawn a lot of games. And on other results and other performances, if they're playing like this today and turning those draws into wins, that's why they could be one of the surprise packages under Patrick Vieira this season. But Wolves and Bruno Lage, we made it far too easy for them today. Bringing on Adama Traoré at right wing back, I didn't quite understand it. And I've said this time and time again on the previews, and I think it showed again today. Adama Traoré takes him time to grow into games. So when we're bringing him on after sort of 65, 70 minutes, when we're chasing a game, he's not going to make the impact that fans think he's going to make. You've got to be giving him way more time, and not really when you're chasing a game. And I don't know what else to say. I think that the midfield, once again, when teams like Palace, and we've seen it a number of times, not just under Bruno, but under Nuno, historically with Wolves and this formation, when teams pack out the midfield, you could argue Palace today are playing a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, so they've got 3 bodies in the midfield, including a big guy like Kouyaté in there today, against Neves and Matinho, especially when we don't want to hold the ball. It's gonna work. Their high pressing our back line really didn't do us many favours, really made us struggle. But, you know, we could go on for all evening talking about things that we could do better and should do better. But at the end of the day, not a good enough performance. And it's a defeat for Wolves at the end of the day. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We go into an international break now with a negative spin on it, which is a shame. It would have been nice to go into it remaining unbeaten, climbing up the table still. And in the end, Palace come out on top. So, yeah, be sure to hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, try your best to enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you all very, very soon.